The trade deadline is swiftly approaching, which I believe it is November 5th or something like that. So I thought, since, yeah, it's the bye week, we don't have a game this weekend, let's go take a look at some potential trades the Minnesota Vikings could make. There wasn't many, but one did cross my feed, it did cross my eyes and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, this would be interesting to kind of talk about. Probably not going to happen, but at the same time, it's nice to look at these rumors that could one day become true, even though I don't see this one taking place just because of the certain team and the certain player that we're going to be talking about here in just a little bit. Probably just it just won't happen. Okay, but it would be pretty sweet for our defense. That's a little hint here for later. But the Minnesota Vikings are rumored to potentially be in trade talks, or not really in trade talks, but could trade for defensive lineman, nose tackle Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's going to happen? We're going to talk about it in depth here just a little bit, see if it's possible that the Vikings make this trade happen, or if it's very unlikely, which I think the article we're going to read from today is basically echoing the same sentiment that I have said when I read this. Was it's probably not going to happen just because of some certain things like our draft capital and what we're looking for in the future. Plus, the Giants, who knows what that team looks like in a year? Who knows what they look like at the end of the season? They might want to keep Dexter Lawrence on that defensive line alongside Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. So before we get talking about that, if you guys want to purchase this 23-inch backlit LED Minnesota Vikings 3D sign, make sure to hit the link in the description down below. Very soon we should have a promo code, not 100% what or when that's going to come, but hey, if you want to purchase one, feel free to do so. Let's get talking about a potential trade proposal to the New York Giants for Dexter Lawrence. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are in an interesting position as they enter their bye week. They sit at 5-0 and are one of the current frontrunners to make and win the Super Bowl this season. Obviously, it's because they're only undefeated. A potential run for a Super Bowl title came out of nowhere, as the Vikings thought this run would maybe begin in 2025. I would say you could push that off a little bit because J.J. McCarthy obviously not going to start this season. Having him start in 2025, there's a good chance he doesn't lead the Vikings to the Super Bowl. Crazier things have happened, but I just don't see that happening. But at the same time, we are Super Bowl favorites, or to make a run, or a favorite to make a run at the Super Bowl. Now, the interesting predicament the Vikings find themselves in this season is how to handle the trade deadline. They only have 3 draft picks in the 2025 NFL draft that are available to trade, with a third-round compensatory pick on the way this upcoming offseason. Now, would they be willing to make a very aggressive move to win now, like the Rams did, just a couple years ago with Matthew Stafford? Honestly, it's unlikely that they would do that. What could make sense is either a depth move or one that is similar to the TJ Hawkinson trade they made in general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's first year. At the trade deadline, there's one name that is popular among the fan base: New York Giants defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. So if this were to happen, what would this trade look like? What is a fair price for the Vikings to pay? With players at the top of their respective positions going for multiple first-round picks, that would be the jumping off point. However, it would be a major precedent for an interior defensive lineman to go for 2 first-round picks. Tyreek Hill went for less than that, okay? However, it would certainly be more than one. Now, this would be both a win now move and one to set them up for a stretch run under J.J. McCarthy for the next few years. Is that enough to trade away major assets? That's the million-dollar question. But nobody would fault Adolfo-Mensah if he went for it. I certainly wouldn't. Okay, I mean, Dexter Lawrence makes your defense automatically better. Doesn't matter how good it is already. He's very good at run stopping. He's very good at getting to the quarterback. Add him to the mix of the Minnesota Vikings defense and what they've been already able to do this entire season. I mean, boy, that'd be fun to watch. Now, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to trade compensation, as much as we think we know about the market, nobody really knows what a player will go for. Surprises happen all the time, right? Randy Moss didn't go for a first-round pick. Shocker. I know. That's the NFL. It's the world we live in. Now, a projected trade compensation would be something like this. Okay, the Vikings send a 2025 first-round pick and a 2026 first round and 4th round picks to the Giants for Dexter Lawrence and a 2025 second round pick. Now, honestly, if I'm the Giants, I look at that and say, yeah, that ain't happening. but I could see it if they took out that second round pick from the Giants, right? A first or two first round picks, a fourth round pick for Dexter Lawrence. I think that'd be something that would be a little bit more enticing because then you're not giving up draft capital. But honestly, if we're looking at this trade, as much as it is nice to look at and be like, that would be sweet. Like this could happen. Like imagine Dexter Lawrence on the Minnesota Vikings. If we're being realistic with ourselves, this is not happening. It's plain and simple. The Giants, yes, we beat them pretty good week one, but since then, they've had their ups and downs. They've looked a lot better than they did in week one, but it's probably because they were wearing those terrible uniforms. But you never know what the Giants are going to do throughout the rest of the season. They could make a run. I mean, we're only in week 6 in the NFL year, so a lot of things can change from now to then to the trade deadline, which is November 5th. But I just don't see this as being a move the Vikings would make because, again, we would have to trade a lot of valuable trade assets. Like we'd have to trade away draft picks, which we only have 3 this upcoming season that I think we can trade, right? So would we give away a player? Who would we give away to the Giants for Dexter Lawrence? Would we give away Harrison Phillips, who's played exceptionally well this season and last season, basically his entire tenure with the Vikings? Who would we end up trading away to get Dexter Lawrence? That's the ultimate question. I don't see this happening. I see realistically a depth piece add like at the running back position. Look, Aaron Jones has had an injury history throughout his entire career, at least the majority of his career, with hamstrings and basically just lower body injuries. And right now he's dealing with a little bit of a hip issue, which he's been listed as week to week. And I've seen a couple people comment that said, hey, we need to find better depth at running back. And I said, we necessarily don't need to find better depth. I think we just need to find, or we don't need more depth pieces. We need to find like a stronger depth piece, right? Like a Leonard Fournette who's out in free agency, a Jerick McKinnon, bring him back to Minnesota. We've seen him with the Chiefs. He's very explosive because Ty Chandler, he's good. I'm not jumping off the Ty Chandler train because it was against the Jets. He didn't look that great. The Jets have a great defense, but maybe we need somebody else other than Myles Gaskin behind Ty Chandler, or maybe put somebody in front of Ty Chandler. I have no idea, but I could see that being a realistic move. I just don't see the Vikings making a massive trade before the trade deadline. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about the possibility of the Vikings trading for New York Giants defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. Also, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Have a great rest of the night, folks, and Skol Vikes.